This week's quote is, "It doesn't make sense to hire smart people and tell them what to do. We hire smart people so they can tell us what to do." Mr. Steve Jobs. And, Scott, as I listen to myself say that and I think about that, it really makes me think a lot about the way that we've worked, right? I've always heard Glenn say, I'm going to surround myself with smarter people and really allow me to get where I need to go. But when you think about that, and when I asked you to pull a quote out, you went there. What does that mean to you?
Well, I would lead that off with, I think it's a mindset that moves leadership from being directive to collaborative. And when you live by that in your profession, I think that it empowers people. The people that you work with, they trust you because they know that they are part of something bigger. They're part of a team. It fosters culture. And, I've always said, we're not going to, wherever we're at in our path, whether that was in 2009 or it was in 2016 when all of us decided to form Orca, we're not going to get to the next level of our business if we just have the same people talking about the same things over and over and over again. We need new folks to come in to challenge the status quo and help us propel to the next level. And I think it's just that statement to me, I heard it forever ago. And I've routinely gone back and watched that interview because to me, it's just so much more forward thinking than saying, well, this is the way we're going to do it. And not empowering the folks that are around you to help you get there. Because, you hear people talk about, you're stronger as a team, the weakest link is always the biggest problem, and if you're not allowing people to do the things that they're good at, you're letting yourself down.
So true. And Scott, as you're talking, I'm thinking about, I guess it was probably in 2015 or 2016 when Orca formed, you actually challenged Glenn in a way saying, hey, when are we going to start operating this as a business? Right.
They made that as a real company.
Yeah.
Right. A real company, because for those of you who are just starting to join the podcast, we are a final expense industry. We're in the final expense industry. And so, we were starting this business essentially out of a home and operating out of our cars. And we were hosting meetings at the Holiday Inn Express office. And so, Scott really took it upon himself to say, hey, like, we've got to start running this thing like a real business. And I really think about that quote that you just talked about and how that reflects that.
Yeah. We had all the nuts and the bolts. We were a real company. We just didn't look like one. And, and we were kind of in that, really the first, and you all were big in the first push that we ever had with growth. Up to that point, Glenn would hire people, but it was more like it was a passive way of growing. It was like well, yeah, I've got a position for you, but don't get in my way because I still got to go make my money. And we had gotten to that point where, when I started, we had, 6 or 8 folks that were going out and knocking on doors every week, like you said, working out of our car. We were picking up the leads from Glenn's partner's house at the time. And it's funny to think back on how we used to operate. But then when you guys came in, you really kind of challenged us to take it to the next level in growing our business. And it got to the point where it was hard to get someone to trust us when you don't look like you actually are a business. When you look like just a ragtag group of folks, making money in some weird way that nobody understood. So, it was just kind of a paradigm shift that I think we all needed to discuss.
Yeah. And I mean, it's easy and understandable where we came from, right? I mean, it's commission-based sales. You make money by following that lead card and getting out there and and selling something.
Mhm.
So yes, we always had the bigger vision in mind, the scalability, and to duplicate and to scale, you really have to have those processes in place because, again, we're not all Glenn Crabtree. We're not all Scott Morris. We're not, all that Richard Shawn, who was on our show last week, some of these guys that have these special talents to grow and multiply that business. You have to kind of extract that knowledge of the processes um, to duplicate because, again, everybody's kind of different. And we always say you have these dots to follow this process. Every house is going to be different and every person's going to take you down a couple different roads. So it's been quite the journey, I guess, together for now 11 years and kind of with that goal in mind. And we're coming off of celebrating Christmas parties with some of our team members, and just to put a statement out there that we all will appreciate, man, they all are so complimentary of the company, the process, but most of all the culture.